Hey everybody, today we are learning Topic 2, Section 2, Point-Slope form. It is a new form to graph a line besides the slope-intercept form that you have learned back in Topic 2, Section 1, or 2-1. And before we learn the lesson, let's talk about the review first, right? Something that you have to know before we learn how to graph or write a equation of a line in point-slope form. So let's do a review here, and I'm going to zoom in. Well, in this example, in the review, it says graph a line through -2, 4 with slope of 3/4. So there's no equations, it's just some information for you to start plotting lines with a given point and a given slope. So think of it like a map, like a Waze, Google Map, things like that, that you need to know where you're starting first. And then once you know where you start, you need to know the directions to get to your destination. So to do that, we're going to first graph -2, 4. So to graph -2, 4, you start from the origin, and then you move 2 to the left, and then 4 up. So this point will be -2, 4, right here, right, -2, 4. And then from there, it says 3/4. That's the direction. Well, what does the 3 mean? This means 3 units up. And the 4 means 4 units to the right because they're both positive. 3 is positive, so therefore it's going up. 4 is positive, therefore it's going to the right. So you start at the starting point, which is at -2, 4, and you move 3 up to 1, 2, 3, and then you move 4 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. And then boom, this is your second dot. Now you can repeat the process if you want. You don't have to, but all you have to do is use a ruler and then just connect the 2 points to create a line. So this is the line for the given information, right? You have the points -2, 4, which is this point right here, and then you have the directions 3 up, 4 to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's try one more. So in this example, same thing. They want you to graph a line through 1, 1 with a slope of -1/3. So as before, we're going to start with the starting point, which is 1, 1. So to graph 1, 1, you go to 1 right and 1 up. So this point right here will be 1, 1. And then the directions tells you to move certain places. Now let's take a look at this slope. This slope is negative, so you could write it as -1/3 or 1/-3. It doesn't really matter. Well, let's take a look at the first slope. Since this is -1, you're going down 1 unit. And since this 3 is positive, you're going to the right 3 units. So let's try that. So you go 1, so starting from this point, you go down 1 and right 3. So down 1, right 3. And then you have the second point right here, okay? Now, of course, you want to choose this slope right here. This will also give you the same answer. Well, this tells you that, well, since the 1 is positive, it's 1 up. And then since this 3 is negative, it's 3 to the left. So again, you start with the same starting point and you go 1 up, 3 to the left. Okay, so 1 up, 3 to the left like this. So you have another point like this. So it doesn't matter which 2 points you pick. You could pick these 2 points, or you could pick these 2 points. But eventually, when you connect this, aren't all 3 points lie on the same line anyway? So therefore, it's just giving you the same answer regardless of which slope you want to choose. You could choose to stick the negative on the top of the fractions, or choose to stick the negative at the bottom of the fractions. But you cannot choose both top and bottom. You have to make up your mind. Do you want the negative to be on the top of the fraction, which is the numerator, or at the bottom of the fraction, which is the denominator? Okay, and this is all you need for this lesson. Let's go to the next lesson now. Well, in 2-2, we're going to learn something called point-slope form. And in point-slope form, this is a form that you kind of have to memorize. The form is y minus y sub 1 is equal to m, open parentheses, x minus x sub 1. And this form is very useful because all you have to do is, if you know a point, which is x sub 1, y sub 1, and by the way, there's no s here, it's a typo, just 1 point, x sub 1, y sub 1, and if you have a slope, which in this case is a value, and we're going to use m to indicate the value, then all you have to do is to plug in these numbers into the point slope form, and then boom, that is the equation of a line. Okay, so besides using slope intercept form last time, which is y equals mx plus b, you have another form called point slope form, which in this case is y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times, open parentheses, x minus x sub 1, close parentheses. Okay, So let's try to find the point slope form of these information. So let's say you have an example 1a. Let's say you have a point at -3, 2 and a slope of -6. And if I were to ask you to write an equation in point slope form that would have the point -3, 2 and slope of -6, all you have to do is first write y minus something is equal to something x minus something, and all you have to do is to fill in the blanks correctly. So remember, the first box is your y value. Okay, your first box is your y value, and I know that the y value is the second number in the order pair, so we're going to put 2 here. And then the second box is a slope, and we know the value of the slope here, which is -6, so we're going to plug in -6 into this box. And then on the last box, the value is the x sub 1, and then x sub 1 is the first number in the order pair, which is -3. Okay, and then at the end, all you have to do is to rewrite the point slope form without the boxes. So you're going to have y minus 2 is equal to -6 open parentheses x, and then since you have two negatives, you have to simplify to a positive. Okay, so x plus 3 like this, and then tada, that is the equation in point slope form when you have a point -3 comma positive 2 and a slope of -6. Here's a shortcut for you. You notice that if the x value is -3, in the equation it becomes +3. It changes the sign. Likewise, if the y value of the point is +2, in the equation the number after the y is -2. So again, it changes the sign. The only thing that doesn't change the sign is the slope. So if the slope is negative, in the equation the slope is negative. If the slope is positive, then the slope in the equation is positive. Let's take a look at another example. So let's say you have a different point this time. You have -2 comma -4. This is a negative, by the way. And if you have a slope of 2 over 3, you're going to do the same thing here. So first, you're going to write in point slope form. You're going to first write out y minus something. It's always a minus to start with. Is equal to something x minus something like this. Well, let's try it again. Remember, the first box is your y value. Right? Let me just scroll down a little bit. Your first box is your y value, and in this case, the y value is -4. And the second box is the slope. The slope in this case is 2/3. And then the third box is the value for x. In this case is -2. And then again, you're going to rewrite this without any boxes and simplify any double negatives to make it a positive. So in this case, it's going to be y plus 4 is equal to 2 over 3 x plus 2. And then that's pretty much it. Okay, and then that's the way to write an equation in point slope form when you're given a point and a slope. And the good thing in this lesson is that you do not have to simplify this. You do not have to do distributive property. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is plug it in. Okay, so when you have 3 numbers, plug it into the correct boxes, and then at the end, simplify any double negatives. Well, in example 2a, we're going to learn how to write an equation from a graph. So in this graph, as you can see, we have a point which is 2, 2, and I label it because it's starting from the origin. You move 2 to the right and 2 up. And then from here, we have to find out what is the slope of this graph, right? So first, in order to write an equation of a line, we first have to write the formula for the point slope form, which is again is y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times open parentheses x minus x sub 1. And then from there, we're going to replace the y sub 1, m, and x sub 1 into 3 boxes like this, okay? So same thing, since I gave you an order pair, 2, 2, the value for the y is 2, we're going to plug it into the first box. And then likewise, the x is positive 2, so we're going to plug it into the third box, not the second one. And then for slope, it's kind of hard to see, but you're going to have to count, like rise over run, just like how you did back in middle school. So you start from, doesn't matter which point, I'm going to start from the bottom one. And then you're going to go 1 unit up from here, and then once you get here, you move 3 units to the right. So it looks like the direction is 1 unit up and 3 units to the right. Since it's 1 unit up, the numerator is positive, so that becomes positive 1. And then since the 3 units to the right, since it's to the right direction, the denominator is positive as well. So you have positive 1 over positive 3, so therefore your slope is 1/3. So you're going to put that on the box that says m, which is your slope. And then from there, all you have to do is to rewrite the point slope form without the boxes, which is y minus 2 is equal to 1/3 times open parentheses x minus 2. And then that's it. Okay. Let's try another example. In this case, same thing. You have a point which is at -1, 3, and then you have a slope which later on we will calculate by using y/run. So to do that, we first again write down the formula y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times open parentheses x minus x sub 1. And then from there, we replace the y sub 1, m, and x sub 1 with the 3 boxes. Okay. Then we're gonna have to plug in the x value and the y value. So we always start with the y value first. In this order pair, the y value is 3, so therefore we're going to replace the first box with 3. Then the x value is -1, so therefore we replace the third box with the value -1. And then for slope, we have to count y/run. So it looks like from the top point to the bottom point, I have to go 2 down like this. So 1, 2, so it's gonna be 2 down. And then 1 unit to the right. So 2 down, 1 right. Well, since the direction is down, the numerator should be negative this time, so -2. And since to the right direction, your denominator is positive, so it's going to be +1. So -2 divided by +1, your answer should be negative. So in this case, it's going to be -2. So therefore, your slope is going to be -2 like this. Well, once you plug in 3 numbers, all you have to do is rewrite it without any boxes, as well as simplify any double negatives that are right next to each other. So your final answer is going to be y minus 3 is equal to -2 multiplied by open parentheses x plus 1. And then that is your final answer. That's the equation in point slope form for this graph. Well, in example 3, we're going to also write equations in point slope form, but in this case, look at, there are 2 points, but there's no slope. So what is going to happen? And then you have the graph right here that kind of tells you where is 4, 6, and where is 5, -2. And then here you have the slope. So to do that, first let's actually write out the point slope form, which I have to I'm repeating several times in this video, which is y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times open parentheses x minus x sub 1. And then from there, you replace 3 letters with 3 boxes like that. Well, first, let's find out the slope. You notice that there are x's and y's in this problem, but there's no slope. So how do you find slope here? So remember, back in middle school or in the past, you learned that the slope formula, it's going to be y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So you kind of have to fill in the 4 boxes in order to find the slope. Okay, so let's label them. What is x sub 2, x sub 1, y sub 2, y sub 1? So in each order pair, well, each order pair is x sub 1, y sub 1, and in the second order pair is x sub 2, y sub 2. So for the y sub 2, we're going to plug in -2 here. For y sub 1, we're going to plug in +6. For x sub 2, we're going to plug in +5, and then for x sub 1, it's going to be +4. Then you're going to use a calculator to simplify these fractions. So you could do -2 minus 6, which is -8, and then 5 minus 4, which is 1. -8 divided by 1 is going to be just -8. So therefore, we put this number into the box that says m. So this number right here, it becomes -8. Okay. Then you probably have a question. You're like, well, I see that I have to plug in a y, but there's 2 y's. Which one I should use? And same thing, for this box I have to plug in x. Which x I should choose? Well, it doesn't really matter for point slope form. If you choose a 4 to fill in this box, you have to choose 6 to fill in this box. Likewise, if you choose 5 to fill in this box, then you have to choose -2 to fill in this box. So in this case, there are 2 correct answers for the point slope form. So you could plug in either, so let's try the first order pair. You could plug in 6 here and then 4 here. So therefore, your equation will be y minus 6 is equal to -8 times x minus 4. That could be your one answer. Okay. Or if you want, you could choose the second order pair. So again, even though you choose the second order pair, the slope is the same thing, still -8. But then in this case, your y sub 2 is -2. So you're going to plug in -2, and then your x sub 2 is going to be 5. And then from here, you rewrite the point slope form without the boxes. So in this case, it's going to be y plus 2 is equal to -8 open parentheses x minus 5. So you have 2 correct answers, and on your Pearson's homework, it will count either of the answers correct. So either this one or this one. But it doesn't matter which answer you decide to choose, your slope is always -8. And to find a slope, you have to use this slope formula, because not every time you're given a graph in a problem. finally, in example 4, we are going to reverse our order by graphing a line using point slope form. So in this problem, example 4, we already gave you a point slope form, and all you have to do is to use these information to graph a line. So let's work backwards. So I know that point is going to be in an order pair. So in this case, the x value is going to be the opposite sign, which is -2. And the y value is going to be the opposite sign of this number, which is +1. So your point is going to be -2, 1. And then for the slope, it's right here, right? The number in front of the parentheses that contains the x. In this case, it's going to be 1/3. So all you have to do is just like the review that we had earlier, that you're going to plot in the point first, which is -2, 1. Which is right here, -2, 1. And then from there, you found the direction, which is 1/3. 1/3 means 1 up, and then this 3 means 3 to the right. So you're starting at this point, you go 1 up, and then 3 to the right. 1 up, and then 3 to the right like this. And then boom, this is your second point. And then at the end, all you have to do is connect them with a ruler. And then this is the graph of this equation in point slope form. Let's try it one more time. So in this example 4b, you are given a different point slope form. So we first have to write off the point first, and as well as the slope. So the point, the x value is the opposite of this number, which is -3. And the y is the opposite of this value, which is -2. And then for the slope is the number in front of the parentheses that contains an x, in this case, which is -2. Now, you notice that this slope is not in a fraction. So you could make any whole numbers or negative numbers as a fraction. So I could always change -2 as -2/1 so that it becomes a fraction. So let's graph this. So for the point, it says -3, -2. So from the origin, you move 3 units to the left and then 2 units down. So this is the order pair -3, -2. And then from here, the slope tells you to move certain places. Well, this -2 tells you that it's moving down 2 units, and this one tells you to move to the right 1 unit. So you're starting at this point, and then you move 2 down and 1 right. So from this point, we're gonna count. This is 1, 2, 2 units down. And then you move 1 to the right, so which is right here. And then all you have to do at the end is to use a ruler to connect these 2 points. And then therefore, this is the graph of this equation in point slope form. Well, that's pretty much it for this lesson. And the next couple minutes will be the instructions of how to get to Pearson's homework for your 2-2 point slope form. Thank you.
Hey everyone, so to get to your homework, first you go to my CNUSD website and then you click on the top of the page, my CNUSD, to log in. Well, you're going to type in your username and your password. Well, in this case, your student ID and your password. Then you go on to resource. I think for you guys it's resource. And then you go to a place called Pearson Savas Easy. Pearson Savas Easy. I'm not quite sure how you say that word, but it's Pearson Easy. Click on that. And you get to this pop-up page, and you're going to click on your class textbook. So you click on this right here. This is called Envision Integrated Mathematics 1 2009 Common Core. Click on that, a new window pop up again, and you see 3 different colors. The green color is your online textbooks. I teach from this textbooks. So if you don't have a copy, an actual copy, you could always go to here and click on the appropriate sections that we're teaching. But to find your online homework, you look at the reddish, orangish box in between, in the middle. It's called classes. So you're gonna click on here, click on classes, and depending on which period you're in, there will be new assignments here. So you're going to click on click into the assignments, and then do your homework, and then that's it. Well, inside the homework, there are problems for you to work on, which allow you 3 attempts before they give you the final answer. So for example, for this problem, if you accidentally got a wrong answer, it'll tell you keep trying. Then you type in another answer, and if it's wrong, then it'll give you one more chance. And the third time that you got it wrong, it'll tell you the answer right away. So, but you could always get help by viewing an example on this part of the feature, so it'll tell you what to do step by step, step by step, step by step until the final answer. So you could always refer to the question, help view an example, or you could use help me to solve this to actually work it step by step. So there will be more answer boxes for you to fill in, but at least it will help you on your learning. Now, for this problem, what do you do when you get it wrong, right? So, well, to get a point or to get scores on that homework, then you click on similar questions and you keep practicing until you get it right. So if I were to click on similar questions, you notice that the questions changed. It's different from the previous one. So let's say this time you got it right. Let's say x is equal to 5, right? Well, if you got it right, it will tell you well done, okay, and then you move on to the next problem. So you click on next to move on to the next problem, like this. And once you finish all the problem, I believe the next thing is for you to make sure that you answer all the questions. If there's anything that it's not answered, make sure that you go back and look at it like this, right? So this is not answered. But let's say assume that if you finish your all of the questions on your homework, then you go to the bottom, I believe. Oh, actually, this button right here says submit my work. So you click on it and then boom, I only got 3% just because I only answered one question correct, the rest I did not answer. So in order for you to get at least 80% or any good scores, make sure that you answer every single question and it's correct, not incorrect, for you to get as many points as possible on your homework. If you have any questions, please contact me.